I'm down to see it. I've already seen it like 3 times now too, man. Like
I can't wait till October 18th where I can just on repeat.
Is that when it comes on Disney Plus?
Disney Plus, yep.
Word. Yeah, I'm steady on repeat, bro. Let's bring it in. Let's since we're recording now, let's just have an opening piece. I'm just gonna turn this into like a show special that I can throw up on the internet, YouTube.
Yeah, dude. That's what I figured. I figured you wanted content. I remember.
You know what I'm talking about, brother. You know what I'm talking about. All right, let's bring it in. Let me bring it in real quick, and then we'll have fun. All right. Yeah, blah. Yo, what's going on? It's the NRW Nerds Rule the World. It's your boy Kuya P, aka the Babinka Boy, the Adorable, the leader of the Holla Homies. It's in a gang. You know what? I'm gonna stop because right now we got more people coming on. I'm gonna tell you what's going on, but just let me bring in the people. People are coming in right now. You see my man on the screen, Eric Esteban. Natasha, I see you getting ready to join us. Come on in. My man Eric is on right now. We are going to be talking all about, bruh, Eric, you're the one that set this up. Why don't you talk about it? What's up, Natasha? We're just bringing it in right now. Introducing the recording.
We talking about this dude, right?
We're talking about that dude.
Right.
We're talking about Shang-Chi. I love it. We're talking about representation, AAPI, going forward within the MCU. Your boy Kuya P, Eric Esteban, and Natasha Francisco is on there. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you.
We're just kicking it off. This is just nerds.
What's up, Natasha?
Hanging out right now.
Yeah, we're just hanging out, nerding out about a great movie that we saw. That's basically
I need this space.
And also like how the ramifications really, because like I started tweeting Red Feather at Marvel as soon as after I watched it, because I was like, if Simo can do it, so could I.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll play any Filipino character in the Marvel universe. That would be incredible. I'm just saying.
Yo,
I don't care.
You posted up a piece earlier today with the tattoo because how realistic are you thinking about getting the 10 rings tattoo, brother?
Right here.
Seriously?
Yo, I know my wife might not like that. Okay, but you know what? I don't know that my wife likes any of my tattoos. So
you know what? My wife is the same. I want to get a straight up, because tattoos were invented in the Philippines, before it went out to the rest of the islands. I seriously want to get a whole tribal, like the Samoan cats do on my arm, but the Philippine stuff, and actually done native in the Philippines. I want to sit there with the old auntie, with the hammer. Wooden, do it. Just do it.
You're gonna be there like a whole hour.
Those tattoos as well. But I want to get a tattoo that almost manifests that I get to play a Marvel villain and I'll be part of the 10 rings.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll read for the role, and then I'll lift up my shirt.
Hell yeah. Yo, we got more people coming in. If you hear us, we're just talking. We're nerding out right now.
Yo,
my boy Law.
Tattoo already. Boom, right here. See?
Hell yeah.
Look at Kevin. I'm already born to play.
There we go. Welcome, Rachel.
You want me to play?
We're just nerding out right now. Yo, let's do introductions real quick since now we got a little bit more people in here. I'm Kuya P, Show Pal Show, Nerds of Color, NRW. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. I love seeing beautiful Asian faces right now because it's the time. It's our time. I love it. That's me, your boy Kuya P. Eric, introduce yourself, brother.
Yo, I'm Eric Esteban, stand-up comedian / actor, commentator extraordinaire, and I'm just here to have fun and talk about Shang-Chi because I'm geeking out about it and I love this movie and I'm so excited for what it entails for the future for all of us.
Hell yeah. Natasha, please introduce yourself.
My name is Natasha. I'm just a major nerd. I just needed another space to talk about it because I think my fiance is like, okay, I get it. Like you need more people to talk to. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll do that. I'll go find a space.
I love it. Law, come on in. Tell us what you about. And Dia, I see you out there. Come on in.
Hey, I'm Law. I am a senior content producer at Cinema Blend, and I'm an actor and a host. And Shang-Chi was my shit, and I'm excited to geek out with you guys.
Law, this is the first time we're meeting face to face. We only know each other from Twitter and Instagram, so that's
I forget
cool
that the first time that I actually saw you speak was one of your like Zoom comedy shows. So this is very cool. I'm excited to communicate to a face.
Yeah, we can interact with each other.
Yes. And Rachel.
Hello. Hi, I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me. I love the energy in here. It's so great. And I love that everyone's just amazing Asians in here. Love it.
Yes. And Dia, I see you on right now. Feel free to jump on in. We're just nerding out. We're all just doing introductions, just kicking it off.
I guess I forgot to say I'm an actor, filmmaker.
Hell yeah.
And Future Wave, we saw on Twitter.
Right. You see that, retweet
Manifesting.
We're all doing it now. Simu did it, now we're all doing it. I tweeted about Red Feather and the Triumph Division.
Love it, yes.
I'm ready. Agents of Atlas, let's go.
I'm saying.
Let's go.
Yo, I'll play Ned's cousin. I just want something.
Bro, for real. I want to be like Ned's drunk uncle. I'm cool with that.
Eric.
I love it.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of Ned, though, they only revealed 5 villains in that No Way Home trailer.
Oh, you think so?
And Ned, I wanted to do a video about this because I have a theory about Jacob Batalon's weight loss. The thinner he gets, the more evil he becomes, and he's gonna be Hobgoblin.
Oh my god, I love that.
That's so funny.
If I could be one of Hobgoblin's henchmen,
all his henchmen are just the Pinoy
all
entourage.
his henchmen are Filipino. That would be awesome.
He goes to a family party. He's like, "Listen, I'm gonna need some people to help me commit some crimes against my best friend. Let's get in."
They're like down.
That would
And
be
then we'll
really
sing
beer.
karaoke afterwards.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes. But where do we want to get into first, Eric? Man, like,
well, I mean,
I'll reach out to you because
I know you are the authority on Nerds of Color. You are my connection to the Show Pow Show and everything about this realm. And I really wanted to just kind of open it up to a conversation about what we think might happen because of this. Because I mean, $90 million is a lot of money, and it says a lot about what Hollywood can do with, people who look like us. And I think it's really gonna be. It's like our Black Panther,
bruh. And what if they also had like they did with Black Widow, where they would have made it paid? I'm sure it would have had even more dollars. You know what I'm saying? For the people that still wanted to come out, there's a lot of kids because kids can't be vaccinated. There's a lot of dollars still sitting there if they would have made it available for streaming right now.
And I don't know because I know it's available for streaming on October 18th.
Yes,
on Disney Plus, but I don't know if you have to pay. I think it might just be.
I think it's
just available. Yeah,
I think they're just gonna give it, which they kind of loss of money there though, in a way, right? Wouldn't you say?
But at the same time, it kind of shows you the strength of the movie when in the middle of a pandemic, with variants running all over, and you still made $90 million. That says a lot.
Maybe they'll make it back up in merch because I know I want some 10 rings for myself. I want that cosplay.
I've been on Etsy heavy trying to get some like rings made right now for real. Yeah. I ordered my costume. I don't know if you saw on my IG. I ordered from Pro Cosplay. They had like the whole top and everything, and I had to track down the Nike Jordan joints because he's wearing Nikes, man. He's wearing Jumpmans, I think. And
I was gonna ask that. Do you think they're gonna re-release some special edition Shang-Chi Jace? I mean, they should.
They made an Xbox. Why not the shoes from the movie?
I'm saying
with some dragon scales or something.
I mean, there's the part when he takes off his shoes before he goes to Katie's apartment, to his house, when he's picking up Katie before work, before they go on the bus, and he's taking off his shoes, and there's a distinct shot of the Jordan, like all black Jordan with the white sole. That I'm feeling very much. I would wear those with black jeans all day.
Trust.
The marketing, product placement. I just want like the faceless creature. So
Morris.
cute.
Oh, Morris.
Morris.
Yes.
Chicken pig.
Yes.
I think I saw someone already have it.
They have their stuffed toy already. Because I was going to buy it.
Disneyland, right?
In the movie yet. Like
you're back. I'm going to buy it.
And I'm
ordering now.
Oh, yeah. I think Disney,
real quick.
the Disney store is actually going to put like one that like you squeeze it and it moves. It has all 6 legs and everything.
Cute.
Yeah, coming soon. I somebody sent me the link to the joint because they were setting that up soon. Oh, it's my daughter is ready for that. So yeah, she's a Morris
That's
fan.
dangerous. I'm gonna find it now.
Oh yeah, trust. My man Eric was picking up all the pops, and I'm like, yo, I gotta get they're doing a great protector pop. Then I need a cop. Man, just yeah, it's getting all my money right now. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like digging for like because I have comic creator friends that work on this stuff. I'm trying to get like some original art. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
What?
I'm
so jealous.
You got all of them?
Oh, yes, I bought all of them. Look, this morning I went to GameStop and I bought all of them.
Wow.
It's kicking.
Oh my god, I love how he's kicking.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, the little.
There you got your shoe reference.
I even got shout out to Aquafina. Look at that. I got you in the Talo.
Outfit. That was my next question. I was like, do you have Katie? Because you have.
I got her right here. Look, see, respect. Hold on, and then. Yaling, the new leader of the 10 Rings.
I'm so jealous.
And she's gonna be back in Shang-Chi too. You know she is. Yeah. Munger.
Munger.
Yeah.
Munger. But do you think it's gonna be a movie or is it gonna be a series she's gonna star in?
Would watch the shit out of.
Oh, yo, let's do some predictions
of the 10 Ring show. I would.
What do you think coming out of this? Since it's already out there, we can talk about it. We can spoil it now because I feel like this would be the place if we could spoil it because we're talking among people who've seen it.
And of course, if you haven't seen it, what the hell are you doing?
What's wrong with you?
What are you waiting for?
Come on, the color show. What the hell's wrong with you? But I'll save the best for last.
Oh yeah,
there's my boy.
The master.
I want to cry.
God, dude, his face. He is the best actor in the world. Like his face, he tells stories with his eyes.
Yeah, so I saw a tweet that was like, it was really beautiful. It was like, they say that eyes are the windows to the soul, but Tony Leung's are a portal. I was just like,
oh, for real.
True.
It was so good. But as go ahead, man.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, as far as predictions, I mean, obviously the 10 Rings organization is huge. It's like maybe even beyond the scale of what we've seen from like the Dora Milaje, right? And the way that they've utilized them in the MCU has been really clever. Aside from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in my opinion, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be full like a full series or its own movie, or like maybe I don't know what she's gonna be. I don't know if she's like a 10 Rings for good or like going to be a problem later, like Azula vibes. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm hoping it's something to the scale of like a WandaVision or a Loki, where they really put the budget and the care behind it, because this movie was unreal for I think all of us. And it's only going to, every watch that I've had of this film, it only gets better and more special. And I was like a mess on my third watch through. I was just like, why am I knew this was all happening.
Were you crying?
Dude, I had the same experience with my second watch through. I'm sitting in the theater and I'm like, why the hell am I crying? Like, tears. And it wasn't from like moments that you would normally cry. I was like, I cried when I was watching Michelle Yeoh with her Tai Chi dance and the leaves like flying around. And I was like, I just had tears in my eyes because of how beautiful it was and how the scope 100%. of what the story it was telling and the scope of the character and everything about it, just like the whole moment in that moment, like I just got caught up and there were tears in my eyes. It was just beautiful. And it wasn't like a line or anything else. It was just I was caught up in that moment. It was beautiful. And there was so many times during the second time where I was caught up like that. And it just like, wow, this is really something different than other Marvel movies.
Who else has predictions, ladies, of what you would like to see, after this?
Rachel, go first.
I mean, obviously would like, I guess going back to the 10 Rings organization, because I was also thinking like, how sick would it be for her to have a series, and like in that vein of WandaVision, because it was just like so phenomenal. And I think coming out of this and seeing the success, Marvel is already like just re-strategizing everything.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how they really have kind of grasped the whole zeitgeist, like of all of it, and everybody's talking about it. And even like, it was funny to me because part of the reason why I approached Kuya P about doing this whole thing and just having a discussion with us was I was watching coverage of Shang-Chi, and it was 3 Latino guys. Right. And in each of their reviews that they had to preface, they were like, now I'm not part of the AAPI culture. However, I feel as if I was, I would have identified with A, B, and C moments. And I was like, there has to be a place where we can talk about
it's just like human at that point. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
But and it was wonderful that they acknowledged, they were like, I can't even imagine what it would feel being an Asian American and watching this and seeing this. And then again, that whole Black Panther comparison comes back where you're like, you get to see yourself on the screen as a hero. And how does that make you really feel? And it's powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah. So shout out to those allies. Because when you saw the box office returns, they were breaking down, by race. Black people really came out for us. So shout out to them. They didn't have to, but all the different races that came out that showed out for us, because we definitely showed out for Black Panther and the like. But just the allies, thank you. But I'm hoping more of our people can come out for this, because I would like to see more of those numbers up too. I know we was doing it. I know Asian Twitter. We all of us here, we were out here representing. But I need the aunties, the uncles that are just kind of hesitant. But also,
I can't wait for my dad to go see it. But I know he doesn't want to go to the theater yet. Yeah, he wants to wait because
that's why I'm saying I wish the numbers, if they could have done, like they did with Black Widow, the paid to watch it, because I know a lot of families would have done that. Especially because they're going to be vaccinated, right? So,
but then you got to ask the question: how would the box office been then? Like, would it have broken the Labor Day records?
I think it still would have been hot. We would have been came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know. I still probably would have gone to the theater, because even as the variants and everything were starting to come on, I was like, I promised myself in the summer that this would be the first movie I got to see in the theater after all this craziness, and I kept the promise, but I double masked and face shielded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, next year sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, even when the trailer came out for Shang-Chi, I was telling my brother, I was like, we have to watch in theater. Like, I don't care what's gonna happen. We're vaccinated, but we're still gonna try, because this is a moment. This is a superhero that growing up I always wanted. I remember the only superhero I had growing up was the Yellow Ranger, and I was like, well, low-key, she's kind of in a racist role. So it's just truly amazing. No, it's true. It's just truly amazing to have the different layers of Asians, and just seeing all those little moments that I feel like us as a community, we really just recognize, and we're like, oh hey, like I can kind of understand that. Even just moments of Ronnie Chang just switching from Mandarin to English and be like, oh no,
that was so dope.
That was such a funny line too.
And it just really speaks to how like we're still part of so many different communities. So it was amazing, and I think just being able to see it in theater was awesome. But yeah, I was telling my brother, because we're both Marvel fans, and I was like, we have to take the whole family. We took everyone out. We sat in the corner and had our masks on, and I was just like, okay, we have to watch this. Okay, we can't miss this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm kind of like same thing with me. So honestly, I was really debating on whether or not to watch it this past weekend, just because obviously pandemic, but like I just booked a show that I cannot talk about. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to like be really careful. And I really didn't want to risk it, but seeing everyone's like reactions, I was like, oh my God, I'm missing out. It's like, I had this urge. I was like, hey, I decided to go like after Labor Day, where it was, hopefully less people in the theaters. And I literally was checking my, like the theater seats up till, until I would leave and be like, hey, how many people are there and where can I sit away from everyone? And so I went during the day, during the week, where it would, hopefully like low risk, as less people as possible. Worth it. Absolutely worth it to me. I like, and similar to you guys, like I was sitting there and like crying in different moments, getting emotional. I'm like, what is happening? What's going on? And like, I just remember I've been acting since I was a kid. And it's funny you also bring out Power Rangers. I auditioned for Power Rangers Megaforce like whenever that was, 2013, 2012, for the Pink Ranger.
Hey.
And I wanted to be the Pink Ranger so bad. Love the Yellow Ranger, but for some reason, like I just wanted to be the Pink Ranger. Maybe because I
just wanted the Pink
color.
Ranger skirt.
And so it kind of just brought me back to those moments of how powerful representation is. And since I was a kid, just wanting that for myself, like, where am I? Where are we? And even like, like you said, the representation we had as female Asian Americans was like the Yellow Ranger. But even with her, I didn't resonate with her as much because she's East Asian. And like, I'm a brown Asian. I was like, where are we? I don't see us. And so, but even in Shang-Chi, just sitting there and seeing like the scope and the magnitude and the global impact that this film has, that Marvel has on the world, and just seeing how far we've come since I was a kid to now in representation in cinema is immense. Like this is just the beginning of it, So it's exciting. It's a very exciting moment.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Definitely shout out to the community though, because even the people who couldn't make it out, I saw people buying tickets for empty seats just to get that revenue in, which I think is really incredible. And I've been one of these people who I've definitely risked going to the theater for multiple titles this year, like The Green Knight, and it's like, I'm half Indian, I gotta support Dev Patel. But that being said, this theater that I went to on opening weekend was packed full of Asians. I went to Alhambra, so it was gonna happen. But like, it was touching though, because like I had been in a theater beforehand when people weren't showing up because it is not a great situation out there. So it was kind of like exciting that like that many people felt so strongly to do those things in order to support the community. It's incredible.
Yo, while we're on the topic of, the community, man, shout out to Ron Solo, aka Ron Han with POC Culture. He was going to be here. He was also one of the guests that I invited, but he couldn't make it. He had some other stuff. So shout out to Ron for his amazing Shang-Chi challenge. I don't know if y'all saw that, but oh my gosh, just get everybody to raise funds and bring the children out there was super dope. So props to you, Ron. Appreciate that, man. That's amazing.
That was
It was. I actually wish I wish I could have been a teenager to watch that.
Right?
See the director and like Dad Dealer there.
Yeah. They had some amazing folks come out for that. That was super dope. And hey, Dia, welcome, Dia, another guest coming out here. How are you? Please just introduce yourself. We're just talking, nerding out, safe space for us to just nerd the fuck out on Shang-Chi.
Yo, peace everybody. It's so good to see y'all. So I had to hop on the iPhone because I had some audio issues. So I hope y'all can hear me. Mic check.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm so excited to be here. I know I'm chiming in late. Kuya P, always, man, coming in fresh. And I love what you're doing. So it's a blessing to be here. I just came off a meeting with a banjo artist. So bringing that energy here. I'm loving the conversations. I feel you. I grew up in a 626 area code, so just to hear you talk about Alhambra and just the energy there, I gotta tell y'all, like, the more that I interact with folks and hear folks process Shang-Chi, the more I'm excited and hype about it. All I can say is I've had some hangouts. So I initially got an advanced screening ticket when it initially premiered 3 weeks ago. And then it got pulled. They had canceled it and they had never explained why. And then the second time I got it was advanced screening in New York on September 1st. And that's when the floods happened in New York. So I was flooded out. So this whole shock, like, it's getting there. So I'm trying to figure out how to get to the theater safely. But this conversation is so important because it's been something I've been thinking about as people are like going to theaters and they're seeing it with their young people and the young people responding back, and then seeing Tony Leung, who like I grew up with, my parents, and it's intergenerational and it's meaningful, and you're like crossing your fingers that it turns out all right, because like the two main leads, I'm still adjusting the two main leads, and I've seen Aqua.
Oh, is she still there?
No. It was so good too.
Yes.
So good.
That banjo energy was really coming through.
He was like, yeah. She was ready.
If you come back, you're welcomed. Well,
Come back.
But
I love your frames, by the way. I don't even know if you can hear this, but they're dope.
So until she comes back, let's what was a favorite moment that you all had? I'll lead off the top. For me was when Tony and Fala Chen first linked up, that fight. And then when they were stopping and looking at each other in between that fight,
so
that
beautiful.
slow down and the gaze back and forth, melting, right? Like,
that was it. No, that's mine. That was it for me.
Right. We all fell in love with Tony Leung in that scene.
Oh, hey, Dia, you're back. You wanted to finish up.
I don't know the name of the actress, but she was. Oh, that was a.
Fala Chen. Fala Chen.
Fala Chen. Oh,
yeah.
Gorgeous,
amazing.
gorgeous scene. Oh.
Dia, are you still there? Can you were breaking up? We see you now.
Yeah, I'm here. Yo, I'm fine with y'all. Sorry, coming in and out, but I'm here. Yes, Tony Leung, the action pack.
Oh yeah. I think what's really beautiful about that scene, just for me, coming from like a filmmaking perspective, and what Destin did, director, was so just captured it in a way that I haven't seen before in any other action fight sequence, like blending that, like we're about to fight and like this, you're expecting this antagonistic, like, energy into it. But then here comes the romance, what's happening, and I felt pulled into both these energies and then became this beautiful dance and this balance. And shout out to Destin for that. Like I've been a fan of his since Short Term 12, so I knew this was going to be something, Yeah.
I think that's a testament to his ability to direct like humanity, like dramatic scenes. He's so good at it, and it comes through even in those like little glances between them. That scene might be my favorite fight scene in the movie. And that's really hard to like say because there's so many amazing moments, and that one happened so early, but like everything with the love story felt so impactful and universally understandable because it wasn't a lot of dialogue, and the prologue was in Mandarin, right, for like the first 20 minutes of the movie. So I don't know, there's something really beautiful there that transcended anything. That's just good storytelling.
So is that your favorite? Yeah. I think my favorite scene, or the one that I'm most identified with, I'll say it like that, because if I can't really pick a favorite fight scene.
Yeah.
Because obviously the romance fight was beautiful. The bus fight was amazing. The scaffolding fight was incredible. All the fights were, even the final fight with the dragons. I mean, come on, it was ridiculous. Right. But for me, one of the moments where I totally identified with all the characters was when they first arrive in Macau, and there's a moment with Simu and Awkwafina where they look at each other, and Awkwafina's so mesmerized at being it probably her first time in China, or the character's first time in China, and I just so identified with being like I was there in the jeepney driving around, like looking at the Philippines and seeing the first time I really saw my parents' culture and the Filipino culture. And that moment, like where she sees Chinese culture and the dancing and all that to me was like so Asian American of a moment, and it captured it so beautifully, and it was so quick. But like, I think so many people, even subliminally, would identify with that moment so much, because if you've ever visited your homeland and then you see the wonderment in Awkwafina's face in that moment, it's like, that's beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, yeah. The whole movie captures the Asian American experience, really. Like when like from the idea of the father and the sacrificing the father for the son, and all the other, different relationships with the father and the son and the daughter, and how the son is taken at a higher, and all the different things. Man, it's crazy.
Real talk.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It really, Dustin really melded. I remember watching a video about how they said that they wanted to crash and burn every Asian stereotype that existed, and in a lot of ways they did. They checked off every damn box of like every stereotype, from like Awkwafina's family was a middle class family that was just, and she was happy to just be a
A valet.
Valet.
You know, and it wasn't like she didn't have to be like a doctor or you know, it didn't have to be successful or anything. But then of course they mentioned that she has an honors degree from Berkeley, which is fine. We smart. That's cool. We smart. But you know, we don't all have to be what, you know, the model minority thing, which I love too. Like they smashed everything. It was really great. Like even the moment when Tony Leung asks Awkwafina, "What's your Chinese name?"
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
American
that was so fucking
that was
dope.
good.
Yeah,
that
to smash the whole Mandarin concept. That was the character for ages as a comics fan.
Oh,
what? To just put that, that's what the white people did, and we just like let them
took 100 years of Fu Manchu racist tropes and destroyed
oh my
them
god,
in
yes,
2 lines of dialogue.
It makes you kind of sad that we won't see Wenwu and Tony Stark meet in the MCU because
that is
those
true.
two acting powerhouses staring at each other with their big old acting eyes.
Unless we get a variant multiverse, right? Multiverse.
No, I don't think RDJ is going to come back.
Yeah, I don't know.
True.
Yeah, I don't think RDJ is going to come back ever. I think he's done.
Yeah,
I think he's done too.
Yeah, I won't deny when I first.
Go ahead.
No, I won't deny when I first heard that they were creating Shang-Chi. I was like, I don't know how you guys are going to do this because I read into the story and I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. Like, I don't know. And when I heard about the director, I was like, okay, he's really cool. I'm excited. But for me, my favorite scene it's kind of simple. I mean, as much I love the fighting scenes, as much I really love the scaffolding. Like, I want to just stay there and just continue with that whole fighting scene.
That was dope.
Mine would definitely be the dinner with when we brought everyone back just to eat, which it seems simple, but I just love how everyone just feeling a type of way. Like the sister and the brother are mad at each other. They hate their dad, but the dad's like, we're still eating. Like this, it was just so Asian American because it's like no matter what, you're still gonna have a meal. Like I don't care how you feel, I'm still gonna feed you because this is the way I treat you and this is my love to you. So
oh yeah,
hell yeah.
Some people need therapy, and then Simu needed the 10 rings, I guess, you know. Jesus. I think it does need to be, I mean, I'm from the Bay. I was born and raised out there. So seeing him walk to his probably minimum wage job in that bomber jacket with his earbuds in, it just like took me back to walking in the Bay, going to a job that I hated with no direction. You know what I mean? And Simu's actual story is not too far off. You know, he cold emailed Wong Fu Productions to get his start. We saw the stock photo job that he did. It's like going viral on the internet.
Did you see the clap back though?
So relatable. That feels so
very relatable.
I felt like my heart doors open up to Simu even more.
Yeah.
I just seen the stock photos. You know, and
absolutely.
like, man, my dude really came up from the stock photo days.
Hell yeah.
Humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings, living the dream. But an Asian American superhero is something I couldn't have ever dreamed of. Well, the closest thing that we all had was, you know, Dante Bosco as Rufio, or you know, the prince from Cinderella, Paolo, right? That's his name, Pablo. Like those are the guys. Paolo.
Oh my god, I love him.
I would like look up to them, being like, "Wow, Bogey, I want to be like them one day." But you know, that kind of like seared off. It fizzled off as I got older, and I stopped seeing meaningful representation. And this movie is incredible, but it's still a guy who does kung fu. But at the end of the day, this is just another portal, right? There's a quote I like that's, "You don't need to take big steps; they just need to be headed in the right direction." And this is such a big step forward in the right direction. Because obviously, you know, I'm Filipino and Indian. I know y'all are Filipino. You know, we still need some more brown Asians, like Rachel said. You know, like it's we have Kumail coming out for like the Pakistani, you know, South Asian. And Gemma Chan's another Asian superhero that we can look forward to. A god, even some would say.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Oh, yes.
And then the Marvels themselves, they just casted a Korean gentleman. They cast, you know, I believe the girl playing Miss Marvel's also in the movie. So we're doing great. But I would love to see, if we're talking about predictions, why aren't we headed towards an Agents of Atlas? Easy answer, right?
We have our wave in here too. Rachel.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen, people.
Yeah, let's manifest it. I mean, it's interesting. I No, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, who knows? Like, because we don't know, but they could honestly be developing it already, or something is brewing, and especially after Shang-Chi's success, like there's something there for sure. I'm sure that they're looking into.
And then when you listen to Feige talk about Shang-Chi, right? He said that he's wanted to do this for 20 years. He's had Shang-Chi on his character list of people who he wanted to have a movie for all the time. And yes, you can almost see the kind of almost canned answer of how he's trying to make sure that he knows that Marvel is trying to make sure everybody's represented. And that's wonderful that he's making that effort. I love that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that he apologized for Tilda, because she still throws me off. No matter how good Endgame is. No matter how good Endgame is, Tilda's bald-headed ass will always throw me off.
That's the one thing I was kind of pissed off about in the What If series. Are y'all watching the What If joints?
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would have fixed that issue, because I'm still pissed off with Tilda. We're doing a variant. Can you switch it to somebody?
Tilda still threw me off. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. That was the main reason I didn't watch Doctor Strange for the longest time. So I was like, why are you gonna put her there? Like, this is in Tibet. Why is she in Tibet? Like,
yeah, let's break this whole thing, Doctor Strange, down and see how offensive Doctor Strange is. Homie went all the way to Tibet and then met a black dude and a white lady. That's kind of fucked up. I'm just
they did it again in Falcon Winter Soldier. They went all the way to Madripoor, not a single Asian in that room.
I could have cut the shit out of that snake. I could play the shit out of that bartender. I'm right here, Kevin.
Yo.
God damn
it. That's so funny. Kevin Feige did say, someone asked him about like Southeast Asian representation, and he said it's coming. So whatever that means.
My phone is right here, and I answer every Burbank area code. I answer every one. I answer every single one. It usually is a telemarketer, but one day it's going to be Kevin Feige.
It's going to be Kevin. Eric, listen, I saw you on Twitter. You're fired, bro.
I saw you on Twitter, and then I saw you on a Nerds of Color episode, and you were yelling at me. I'd like to offer you the part of the Red Fest.
Yo,
he offered you the uncle, the loud uncle.
Hey, I'm cool. Hey, Tito Eric is Jacob's uncle. I'm cool.
So I got a real nerd question.
He was working out with me.
I got real nerd questions, since we are nerds of color and everything. What was Wong doing with Abomination, you think? What's your prediction with what was going down? Why were they in that little, match? But they had a plan, obviously, that we found out, What do you think was going down there? Just prediction there.
I don't think the Sanctum pays that much, and I think Wong needs to make get his bag, son. He's got to do it somehow. And I mean,
homie only had rupees the last time. Couldn't even buy a sandwich.
He couldn't get a sandwich. Exactly. He was going to a bodega, which are like $2 out there. You know what I mean? So he was struggling, and I think that room that they went back into, it looked like it could be like the raft or like, some kind of prison.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just like, maybe it's some kind of deal because he doesn't
some kind of trading places kind of deal where they let him get out of jail for a little while.
Yeah, he could just do whatever he wants. So maybe he's like, I'll cut you in, but we'll see more of Abomination and She-Hulk. So maybe we'll get some ties to those loose ends.
I didn't know that they announced that he was going to be in She-Hulk.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to be in She-Hulk. But then
Buffalo, him.
I think he's been in appearances.
Huh?
The number of appearances of Wong. There's like a tweet going around about the number of appearances of Wong, and that we're basically in Wong's world. We're just living in Wong's world.
Yo, Wong's pop is so expensive. He was the first one that I shopped for. And there's only one available, and it's from Endgame, and it's got his shields up, and it's the coolest fucking pop ever. However, it's like $50.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Wow. Wong's pop is a baller pop.
Yo, I met Benedict Wong at the Endgame premiere, and he like poked my chest, and he was just like, "I like your pin." And I was like, "Wow, look at you!" But what I loved about him is that he's a giant nerd. Like if you watch interviews with him, like he's just so honored to be there. And with a character that I've been reading comic books my whole life. I don't remember a Wong in the comic book, and it kind of seemed like a lazy way to name this guy. Benedict Wong is Wong. So I didn't know where it came from, but he ended up being. I mean, he's obviously coming back in Spider-Man No Way Home too. I'm just excited to see more of him because he's an interesting cat. Like, what are you up to, Wong? For real?
Something's going down. Like, and he's not listening. Well, Doctor Strange ain't listening to him. Something's happening there. You know, he warned him, "Don't do what you're doing." And I'm curious, like with the Abomination thing.
And this is where I got to start interjecting the TV shows because, like, is Abomination part of what they've been sprinkling with the Thunderbolts and US Agent and what's her name from Black Widow? You know, they're already kind of she's already working for, what's her name, Val, right?
Yeah,
and Lady Hydra, basically. I mean, that's her character in the comics, right? She's Lady Hydra. So, like, I feel like Abomination is on some kind of like governmental thing with the Thunderbolts, and he's able to like go on because like Wong is the one person that can keep him in check because of his magic. So maybe Wong is also or might be part of the Thunderbolts if eventually, because they're going to need a magic user in the Thunderbolts team, and in the MCU, Wong and or Mordo would be the main person. So if you have a connection to Mordo, that's Wong's connection to Mordo. So maybe that's the eventual tie-in to the Thunderbolts that's why I'm thinking that whole thing is going.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that's definitely that was actually what I was thinking, because I'm like, where is he going? Shouldn't he be in jail? The Abomination, like, what do you just like pop him out every weekend for these fights? Or as Lauren said, maybe Wong needs to make more money. The actor doesn't make much. Yeah, no, that's definitely possible. But because I'm still really confused, like, why are they fighting? And then also he was giving him tips, right? Wong was giving him tips on how to fight. So I'm really stumped on that. I usually have a lot of theories, but this one I'm like, I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's so bizarre. And I'm just really curious as to where, like, what that like club bathroom was that they went to afterwards. He's like, all right, come on, let's go.
And also that whole fighting ring, because apparently in one of those, because I was watching some of the breakdown videos, and one of the fighters was a widow versus a
extremist guy.
There you go, extremist guy. So there's still people in that world from MCU that are exist from the other movies, which is still very, again, it's really cool, and the possibilities of it. She was an Asian widow. So
Jade Zhu plays that widow. She was in both movies. Very cool. Yeah.
Building blocks.
Building blocks.
Maybe when they go to Madripoor, they'll find some Asians. Next time.
No,
they know better.
No, you know what it was? They shot that shit in Atlanta, and they didn't have no Asian extras in Georgia. That's what it was. There's very few Asians in Georgia.
I'm about to fly to Georgia. We're just like, are you gonna go to that fight club that's run by the white lady? Nah, I'm good. We'll make our own fight club in Macau.
Yo, so talking about other heroes, and hopefully we have our own future hero here with Rachel. I want to hear this pitch for Wave and what you know about Wave, because I know something about Wave. Like what do you know? What would you like to see? Like let's help us push you along. And but let's see what you know though. To have confidence in to play our Wave. Can you swim? I hope you can swim, because that's going to be a big part of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think I would have tweeted that if I didn't believe in myself. But first of all, that tweet, like I was just high off of watching Shang-Chi and just so excited about, the state of like Asian representation in cinema and in Marvel. And I hadn't heard of Wave before when they first introduced her, and I was like, she's the only Southeast Asian superhero right now. And I was like, oh my God, like when are they going to introduce her? Like she needs to be up there. And yeah, I kind of just tweeted that for funsies. Like, I didn't think it would blow up the way that it did, which is honestly, like, it made me very excited and very fired up that it wasn't just me that was excited for this kind of representation and meeting more Southeast Asians and in cinema in general. So like just seeing the community on Twitter and on social media, like just blowing it up, I was like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. So it's been really cool. But in terms of Wave, like, I honestly resonate with her. I was born in the Philippines, grew up there until I was like 4, and then grew up in Texas. But I honestly have always been like such an island girl, love the beach. Like water is honestly my favorite element. I have a lot of air and water in my chart. So I like resonate with her deeply in terms of culture and just her being a badass Asian woman. And I mean, I fucking love her powers. Like, come on, having to control water, that would just be amazing. But also, yeah, like the beach is my happy place. The ocean is my happy place. So there's a lot of layers there. And I love her origin story of what I know. Again, just like growing up in the Philippines, and I haven't been back since I was born. And so I've been wanting to go back just to like reconnect with my roots and my ancestors. And I've been trying to do that here. And I've also been learning Kali and Eskrima. And so,
hell yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm preparing, you guys. I'm preparing.
Well, we're going to manifest it. I love it. I'm all for you now. I'm all for it now. We needed to get that. Okay. She's not just doing it for funsies. It's real talk. She's about
I thought you were about to ask her. It's like, have you ever competed in the Olympics? Philippines? No.
Are you on the
same
no. Is your eye intermediate mid?
How do you feel about chemicals in the water? This is important.
I love
I think it, like the thing that makes me really excited about Wave is just what it would mean to young Asian women, especially like Filipina girls like me when I was growing up and I didn't see myself on screen anywhere. Just what that would mean to our community as Filipinos, as Southeast Asians. Like, oh my God, like it would literally be an honor of a lifetime. Like if I just play her and then I die, great. Done. No. Live long, Rachel. Come on.
You don't know. You want to be in the.
Now this is a franchise. You stay alive.
You're right. Yeah. For the length of her franchise, like
them residuals, girl. Come on.
There's merchandise to be made out.
I'm saying the merch too, and the t-shirts and all of it.
You're right.
Wave bikinis.
I'll stay then.
Yeah, come on.
Shout out to the community though, because I mean, you felt the effects of Asian Twitter. I mean, Ron got the effects of Asian Twitter, right? But I know for a fact that Filipinos are like the most supportive, like ethnicity out there.
For real.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like I don't look full Filipino, so they wait for my po at the end. You know what I mean? When I talk to a tita at a store, they always hook it up. They're always wondering like, what do you do? Oh, do you know this guy? Oh, he's an actor. It's like, yeah, they're all great. They're all wonderful, and they're tweeting like crazy. I love my Filipino.
I honestly thought that too when I saw you in a press room that we were in a junket together, bro. When I first saw you, we hadn't talked yet, and I was curious, and I was like, okay, and then it confirmed later. But I thought that too. I was like, is he? Yeah.
It'll never leave me. In high school, one of my friends was like, "You look like a weird Filipino." And I was just like, "Damn, that's it, huh?"
Oh my God.
That's it. That's gonna define me for the rest of my life. Asian American problems. Yeah, man. I mean, we're really good at lifting each other up, so that's really great. And I think we're in a position now where the people who wanted to be creatives before are now making the shit. They're making those movies and they're getting to write for these shows or have opportunities that I know for me. But you mentioned we met at or you saw me in a press room. That was not a possibility for me until Crazy Rich Asians. And I say this all the time, but it literally changed my life because the companies I was working for, freelance, were like, "You're Asian, right?" And I'm like, yes, 100% actually. And so they would give me work. And from there, you make your connections and stuff. Yeah. But it was the impact of that movie where it was like, it felt trendy to be Asian for a little bit. And obviously, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back for our community with everything that's going on. but it also was invigorating. And I think it's that same kind of fire that Shang-Chi's lit on under all of us, you know, or in our hearts. We're ready to like make moves and pick up on this momentum. So it's good stuff. So I hope it leads to not only a sequel, but obviously Shang-Chi needs to be an Avenger. And I just need more of that.
Isn't he?
Yeah, they labeled it in one of the promos.
They labeled it, right.
Yeah.
The newest Avenger.
A lot of big stakes now, you know, we got a whole other dimension of wonderful things. So we'll have to see how it opens up the world.
Hell yeah.
Okay, are we talking post-credit scene?
Let's talk it all, man. You know, we got plenty of time.
Those 10 rings, like, that's a very big deviation from the original character in the comics.
Yeah.
Because the original character in the comics was basically a regular powered dude who was just the best fighter in all the world. He could and could teach everybody how to fight. Those were his powers. That was it. So these, you know, metaphysical, like, we don't even know how old these ancient magical rings are, things that are sending a beacon out to something, makes him a really big deal. Like, he's a different even kind of hero than he was in the comic books, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and like, he's got the MacGuffin. He's literally got the MacGuffins on his wrists for probably the next 2 or 3 movies, I would guess. Yeah. You know, because it really, that beacon in that post-credit scene really opens up the possibility for everything, from him fighting with the Fantastic Four and fighting Galactus to maybe even fighting Silver Surfer. Who knows? Because he almost looks as if he's like the protector, like, of Earth. Like, he's become like the rings have chosen him because his father was using the rings wrong. And now he, like his mother, would use the rings in the proper way. And so now they've chosen the protector. And he's like, you know, he's like Earth's protector now, Talos protector, whatever, you know, what do you want to call him. But he's a really powerful character in the MCU now, which I think is incredible. Go ahead.
I just remember being, sorry, go ahead.
My bad. My bad, yo. No, all right. I just wanted to say that I was actually watching another video like you were, Eric, YouTube videos, because you know we can't get enough, right? There was a controversy video because, like, as a longtime fan of the, like, in Shang-Chi in the comics, he's never had like superpowers or anything like that.
Right.
He's like the best fighter. So some people that I saw in regards to their commentary were kind of annoyed by that aspect of it. That why'd you make the most powerful non-powered hero have powers? And so I can agree to that to a sense. So, like, with him now having the rings, I did like that moment when he didn't use it, put it down, because we had that stellar moment between him and his father. Like, you chose those rings over your own children, right? That was a powerful moment there. So he didn't really need to use that, right? So I'm hoping going forward that he only really uses the ring when it's like the biggest opponent, like a Thanos type level opponent. So, because like he can handle his business, right?
The thing,
and just only pull it out in a special circumstance, you know.
Of course, I
what I would like to
I don't
see.
think that he would use those for any like regular opponent. Yeah. But again, like if he's fighting Thor for some reason, I mean, that's a cool ass shit to watch. That's all I'm saying.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. And Natasha, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's funny you mentioned the Kuya P because my fiance was just asking me that when we came out of the movie. He's like, does Shang-Chi even have powers? Like, I was like, technically, no, he doesn't. Like, he's supposed to be like the best, like as you said, the best martial arts artist. And it is, I don't know, it's just really interesting to call him a superhero because at the same time we call Black Widow superhero because in the comics she had the same serum as, you know, Captain America, we still call her a superhero. So I'm like, so technically he's still a superhero. And I would appreciate it more if he only used the rings, as you said, for like bigger things. But yeah, but I did, when in terms of the post credits, I was confused because they said the beacon went off, but I'm like, why didn't it go off when his dad held it? Like, that's really
why
interesting.
I think it only went when it was used when the rings were used for good or for protection rather than for when Wu was using them for, which was all just for power, to acquire power. So I feel like, because when they change color from blue, like magic change of color in the MCU is like a big deal, right? Like when it changes colors, you know, it looks like, you know, this golden, you know, like chosen color type of thing. That's why I feel like, no, and I agree with you that the deviation from the comics is something that I think comic book people will always debate. But I think for the movie level MCU type storytelling the scope of the storytelling you want to tell, and especially hopefully with the storytelling you want to tell with Shang-Chi, I think he needs something a little extra special to make him even that much to like level him up with the bigger heroes in the MCU. Because if you put a regular fighting guy next to Captain Marvel, yeah, he can take care of like the miscellaneous grave enemies, but what is he really doing if he doesn't have some type of superpower to, work with them? You know what I mean? On their level.
It's just similar to how I feel about Bucky and the conversation around Bucky and the armor and it's getting the arm again.
Yeah.
So this is and it's something that I thought about as they're promoting Shang-Chi as an Avenger. And I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting how it's going to expand forward, because then how do you then, as we're saying, Asian folks being represented on this scale, this level now, and then opening more doors. Hey, Wave, up in this spot here. And I'd be interested, because for folks who are so in tune with the comics, that's the first point of accessibility to a superheroes back in the day, right? And it's still, for me, is that first point. And I think for me, what I'm hopeful is how is that still a bridge if they're not going to go by the comics? Because then that is also authenticity and representation and how folks have seen themselves in the comics. And for me, that's something that I do see, like, more of those conversations around more Asian American going, wait a minute, let me go back in the comics. Like, I didn't know about Shang-Chi. And that's for me. Like, I didn't know about Shang-Chi. Now I'm like, I want to read more and more about Wave.
And our
but
whole
to your point,
Agents of Atlas group is amazing. Y'all need to see that, where we have an actual Asian superhero team. That blew my mind.
That blew my mind. I had tears in my eyes from the first page. I really did.
Oh my God, imagine seeing that on the big screen.
Right?
Could you imagine, like, spoken in Tagalog and the Wave flying, or like that first opening, those first opening boxes where it's Wave flying over the ocean, and it's I if I'm crying with Michelle Yeoh dancing with the grass, shit, I'm gonna be crying with that.
You gotta bring like 3 boxes in, or 3 tissue boxes.
I know.
My dream is for an Agents of Atlas series, like actual series, X-Files style, Randall Park assembling us all, as if I'm a part of it. Fuck.
Yo, homie, what now?
Should we series that too? Yeah.
I'll be the IT guy. Fuck it. I'll do it.
I mean, it'd be amazing, if there was like a series and then it branched out into, movies.
Yeah.
I think, look, what I think is great about Simu, and yes, whatever criticisms from China that say he's not handsome or whatever else, I'm not worried about that. I think, number one, this basically regular Asian dude is now a superhero. So when you say, Law, I'll be the IT guy. No, don't sell yourself short.
All right.
No, for real. There is literally a team called the Triumph Division of all Filipino characters. It's in the comics. I tweeted about it with Red Feather, because Red Feather's like our Superman. And Red Feather has basically the same powers as Superman, and he has a red hood over his face, which I'd be cool with wearing a red hood over my face. I'm cool with that.
Face, please.
I could just take it off. Be like, yo, Bogey. Okay, thank you. Let's put it back on. But
okay.
No, but seriously, like, don't sell yourself short like that. Like, this is our time now, because Simu,
you're right.
Like, if you stood next to Simu, you'd probably be not much. You wouldn't be intimidated by his build or anything. You'd probably similar in build to him. So it's still there for us.
Lou?
I'm just saying. There's your little Marvel hero pep talk.
Thanks, man. I needed that. Damn, let's go fight some crime.
Let's do it.
Right.
I'll grab my helmet.
I mean, even if it's DC, who cares? I'll settle for DC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suicide Squad was great. Suicide Squad was great. Shout out to James Gunn.
Man, you just made me think, who DC superheroes are like on point like that are of
There's only one Filipino superhero, and I can't remember his name. But he's kind of like
how you know right away
kind of thing.
Who is that?
Who is it?
His
I can't
name's
remember his
Pinoy
name.
Boy.
I could probably
can't think
Google
of
it,
it.
and
And
he
he,
a picture on my phone.
Well, you know what? We did have Ella J. Bosco in Birds of Prey. As,
You're
Yes,
right.
that's true.
Cassandra
you know,
Cain,
shout out
yeah.
to Ella, the
Yes.
homie.
And they should really,
But they didn't really claim it,
reintegrate
though.
that movie. They got to reintegrate them back into the DCEU because that movie was phenomenal.
was
in my
good.
opinion.
Yeah.
I really
thought that
liked
movie
it.
was not bad. It was a good movie, because I think they released it too close to the Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad, and that was not very good. So it kind of got negative connections to that. That's what I think happened.
Everyone kind of
feel
still
it.
had that bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Right,
Like, do we want to do
Yes.
this again?
recent one, the people just were like, I didn't like the first one, so I'm not going to watch it. And you could tell people like for months that it's not connected. But those first impressions of a franchise really mean something, which is why, you know, like Iron Man 3 feels more impactful now because like all the history that we have, and now we have an actual like Did you
rewatch
style? All Hail the King or Iron Man 3? Like I always go back.
rewatch. Yeah, I rewatched Iron Man 3 and All Hail the King again just because it
feels
it
fuller.
makes them better.
Yeah, it's just more robust.
Part of what Marvel's so great about is like their new properties make their old properties, enhance their old properties to the point where I even almost want to watch Dark World again after watching Loki.
You should. After Endgame, Dark World is infinitely better. There's just so much more to it
because there's so much more stakes.
Yeah, and you give a shit. You give a lot of a shit.
Yo, so I want to keep this energy going, man. Like I want to bring up will we support, you know, we're supporting, we want to see this MCU representation, but as a community and as fellow filmmakers, actors here in the room right now, there's a lot of other projects down the pipeline. Would you support like the Jose Rizal story for us Filipinos? You know, what other stories would you like to see happen outside of just the MCU? And do you want to see that? And I challenge all the other writers, producers in the room, besides like myself, because I know I'm working on a Lapu Lapu joint right now, and I know some other cats that are working on some stuff. What would you want to see? You know what I'm saying? And can we, do you think as a community, we will go as hard as we are doing for like MCU, which, you know, at the end of the day, it's still owned by other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to just bring that up as a community. You know, we're going hard for Marvel and we want to see that representation. We're trying to make that happen. But like, you know, we need to also make that for ourselves. So
Lumpia with a Vengeance is also going to be screening.
It's funny you bring that up. I was IMing Patricio back and forth right now. He was going to join us, but he got pulled back and you know, I'm not going to put this other business out there, but
but shout out to Patricio and them because they.
So shout out to Patricio when he watched this back, bro. Yeah.
Because Lumpia with a Vengeance is exactly that type of thing where you support a Filipino action star, right there. I mean, that's one. But I mean, for me, man, I want to tell all of my stories. We talked about this when I was on your podcast for my episode, but. Yeah. Like that's all I want to do. That's what I've been doing since Mini Pacquiao. Is just I want to tell our stories and stories that. Go ahead.
I want to. And I'm sorry, but that just reminded me. And when we were talking, when you were on the episode, the play that you did, that you performed across the country. If we could have that translate to screen, the story of the.
They've been trying. They've been writing the script for a while.
Let everybody else know in case they hadn't heard about it.
The Romance of Magna Rubio. Yeah. I did that play twice, once in Chicago and once in Los Angeles. That was before I started doing stand-up comedy. I was when I was still just an actor.
But we need that story on the screen, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like
no, but
even
that story, even if it's not that specific story, but the story of the Manongs and their story and how the idea of they were the ones who gave Cesar Chavez the idea. But he gets all the shine for it. He even gets the stamp and all the day and all the different Latino streets and all the different Latino neighborhoods. And, you know, Larry Itliong was the one who kind of inspired him to do everything that he did. So like that story told in the scope of the way they tell Cesar Chavez's story would be wonderful. Because I was in a musical about Cesar Chavez. Shit.
I agree. I just want to say like all of it. I want to see all of it. Everything from like biopics to to just like fun. Like for me, I'm working on a lot of queer rom-coms with Filipino American leads, you know, so like, and those stories and every genre, everything, because we need it. And also I think for a long time, we've been so underrepresented just as Filipino Americans, even within the Asian diaspora, you know, which has been great. Love my East Asians. Love you guys. You know, but it's like, I think we've been so starved as Filipino Americans, and also what we've contributed to this country as well. It's like, okay, I think what makes me excited is knowing that we as a community of artists are working on our own things and having to just like lift each other up once they start getting out there, you know. And I know like us here in this room and even other Filipino American filmmakers that are just creating and working right now on so many amazing projects. And it's like, we're right there. We're right there, you know?
Yeah. I feel like a renaissance is happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels
to support
like
each other.
Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even our food is
I did my
right
first
now.
play. Oh, go ahead, Lau. Go ahead, Lau.
No, I'm just saying, like we're coming up, right? We had Trece. We had I'm blanking right now. Fabulous Filipino Brothers with the Bosco Boys is coming.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
You know, Lumpia with a Vengeance. We're getting our shots, and it's just a matter of writing that momentum.
We had Yellow Rose.
Creating those stories. Yellow Rose was so good. I went out to a drive.
Eugene Cordero is an employee of the TSA.
Yeah,
and a villager in The Mandalorian, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, Manny Jacinto is with Nicole Kidman in
Nine Perfect Strangers.
Nine Perfect Strangers. Like, it's happening, right? But
lest we forget about Easter Sunday. I mean, it's, you know, quiet as it's kept.
Yeah,
it's coming. I mean, some of us, I'm sure, in this room auditioned for it. Anyway, some of us even got called back.
You're not alone there.
Anyway, no, but that movie, if that does well, I mean, that's a different kind of game.
Not if
Sunday does
it
well.
will.
It's gonna do amazing,
and it will.
It's gonna do amazing.
It will. Even that they didn't cast me. Anyway.
But stuff is in the works.
Yeah, but no, I'm not. That's the thing about it, is that for all of it, like the idea that we're getting to audition, for stuff like this,
are there.
Crazy,
that's amazing. The idea that I found out that I wasn't cast in Variety, that's pretty damn cool.
That is kind of cool.
I'm just. I'm an optimist. I grew up. I'm an optimist. I always have to look at the bright side of things, because I did my first play in 1997, and I got my Instagram handle and my nickname from all my theater stuff, Miscellaneous Brown, because I played every damn shade, and I played Black, I played Puerto Rican, I played Native American.
That makes so much more sense.
You know, and so for me, like this. Like, part of the tears in my eyes was even just in the opening credits.
Yeah.
Like the idea that even in my career from 97 till now, and you know, when it was like the only Asian representation in movies we had was like Long Duck Dong, you know, and you know, all the stereotypical, almost Breakfast at Tiffany's-esque type stereotypical references to us. And now we have Shang-Chi. Like in a span of like less than 20 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me. In my lifetime, the progress that we've seen as Asian artists, as Filipino American artists, even Dante's career. Like, think about that. He went from a character in a really big movie with a really big actor, and then he parlayed that into a 20-year career where he's now producing his own movies and employing his whole family. How awesome is that? You know, like, how far have we already come? And now with this, Shang-Chi and Easter Sunday and all Trece and all the other things that are coming, and how Hollywood is now seeing that when people can see themselves on screen, they will give their money away to you.
We will show up.
They're going to keep wanting to do this because all Hollywood wants is money. They don't care about any other thing. They don't care about cultural. They don't give a shit about any of that. They care about the fact that that movie made $90 million in 3 days. That's what they care about. And this is a revolution. It's the beginning of it, but this is a revolution. It's not a crazy thing to say that you're going to play Wave. It's not.
I believe
you're
100%.
one
It's
audition
not crazy.
away. You're really one audition away, one meeting
It's just that
away.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Amy
100%.
Pasco? No.
it really, and it, like I say, like, we all are in this community, and we're all talking, and we're all communicating, and we're all not going to stop, right?
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing our own projects. So all those projects, all those stories, your Lapu Lapu movie, any of the queer and LGBT stories that you're going to tell with Philip, I mean, that community in and of itself is like, has taken over the community of comedy in the Philippines. Like, most of the, like, I almost have to wear, like, I almost feel like if I'm going to do stand-up comedy in the Philippines, I have to wear a dress, and I'm going to get fitted for one. I'll do it. I'm not ashamed. I'll do it. But you know what I mean? Like, that, those stories have never been told. And how beautiful is that you're going to tell them in a way from their perspective and through their, I mean, that's the type of stuff that everybody's going to want to see, no matter what it is, because it's something that you haven't seen before at all. And you know, this weekend, this conversation is just proof of it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Man. Yo, we just so let's talking about continued support, because that's what we need to do. So we have Shang-Chi. Right before that, I don't know if y'all saw it, but Maggie Q with the Protege leading that. Earlier this year we had Mortal Kombat. You know, who else do we have?
Is it Brown Bayou? Was it Brown Bayou?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what I get. What I was getting ready to say. So, Blue Bayou. I'm prepping for my interview with Justin this weekend.
Thank you.
I'm going to be talking to him, but I watched it quite a few times. Let me tell you, this film is going to sweep award season, and which I think is going to be the next boom for us as a renaissance with us as Asian Americans and filmmakers. I cried my ass off. Please go support Justin Chong's Blue Bayou. It's so amazing. I don't want to spoil it right now or give anything away.
Wait.
But you all should go see it. Check that out. I know we're supposed to be talking about Marvel, y'all who are watching this.
No, but I cried at the trailer on Blue Bayou, bro.
Yo,
that was a great,
oh my God.
Trailer.
You're going to cry all the way throughout.
Same here.
But the conversation that's going to arise from it, the issues that it confronts are so important. And man, but yeah, shout out to Justin Chong. I just want to put those vibes out. Yeah, like, I think that's going to be the next pinnacle. So like, we're killing it in action. Once this Blue Bayou drops, they're going to be like, what? Because it's just amazing in its scope, and it's a drama, but like it hits so hard. But anyway, I went off on a tangent. But support Blue Bayou, y'all. Let's gold open that. You know what I mean?
I definitely will.
Yeah,
that's definitely my next planned trip.
Yeah, it's on my list.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to cry.
Yeah. So we just got to support films. We got to support creators that are making the content. What other things do you all would say that we need to do? I think we definitely need more writers out there writing the material. Stop, thinking that white is the neutral. You know what I'm saying? Write what you know.
I do love to write.
It's changing that scope of vision. You know what I'm saying? I think when people write is an important thing.
The opportunities to write.
I got a script from a writer, and the script is my story on paper, but it was written by me. And I read word for word. I said, who looked at my life? And it was this character who was anti-hero and like a daywalker, as in like Blade, and had lived this life and had this relationship with a Black trans person. And all that to say, all those little bits of it, I was like, wait a minute, did I write this? And I didn't remember. And it's actually a white screenwriter who wrote it. And it was so nuanced, and it was based on their research and the funding, the resources to get that time to do the research. And I went, wait a minute, somebody pay me, fund us, our community, so we have that time to process ourselves, because the stories we have are the ones that the white writers are trying to find and pick on, so that they are advancing their careers.
There's no this whole. Oh, no, I was just gonna say, because as well versed as she was still telling it from a secondhand experience. No matter how rehearsed or researched she was, she was still selling it from a secondhand experience. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I just that got me, because it's like, man, why not give you the money to tell your story? You know what I mean? Like, I just, anyway.
Right. And I imagine like there's every one of us here have been through that experience in some way, degree or another, or maybe didn't realize it, but someone had written it already and are getting credit for it. And wait a minute, why? And it blew my mind that had happened. And I thought never in a million years would I ever come across a white person who would know my story, because I dare you to try to write my story. If I'm struggling to write it because I can't find the resources. So when I see people putting out tweets like, I'm just put it out there that I want to be Wave, that is claiming and reclaiming. That is like making a statement saying, I resonate with this character, because I bursted into tears when I saw this character on page. I said, this is me on page. I could not believe it. And I thought, I need to find a way to be in rooms like with y'all here who are so motivated. Like, wait a minute, I want to see myself on screen and my stories authentically on screen, because I know that it's written from me and my experiences. And to say that we're the expert of our experience is a huge statement. Look at the box office this past weekend. Surpassed all the odds, because we wouldn't go. And yes, some of us who aren't East Asians are finding our own way to relate to it, but we're finding our way to relate to it because we know the doors are opening more and more, and there's no way to close them now. We're breaking through the ceiling. We're talking about different genres. I would love to see more anti-hero Asians, but we haven't even gotten the heroes yet, and I can't talk about the anti-heroes yet. But I would love to get into nuanced places, because we can't find a way to heal if we don't get more nuance as a community.
Yes.
Amen.
100%.
Tell it. I love it. All right.
Because those stereotypes, if you're painted with stereotypes, you don't know anybody. But the more details and the more nuance you get about a culture and a people, the more you realize it's not something to demonize or be afraid of. It's something to, be a part of.
Yeah. And I want to speak to this again. I do wholeheartedly believe the Filipino community has been at so many forefronts of supporting different communities, and not just that opening spaces. I mean, learning about, for me, Larry Utulong during the farm workers movement, and learning the unity clap that came from the Filipinos. Isang bagsak, one rise, one fall. That has been something that for me as a mantra, when you hear that, and I come into this as like a Vietnamese person with a Filipino at heart, because with the Filipino community was what opened the doors and arms for me to be like, wait a minute, there's so much more in the depth of being Asian American than being like having to hinge on East Asian. And there's been so many promising strides from East Asians, and I think Shang-Chi is a crowning achievement, but I don't think it is our crowning achievement yet until we see more across the front lines, and that one day of the whole spread of all the Asian American heroes. That to me is that moment of that. That is the accomplishment.
That Agents of Atlas moment. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I think the whole earth will shake.
Right?
Pretty much.
In our country,
we're the most populous Asians,
just
are the most populous people in the world. So the world would shake.
Growing demo.
I can't wait,
Amen.
man. Yeah. I want our moment when we can all get decked out like when we did for Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? But because we're in the pandemic, we couldn't go out like we want to for Shang-Chi right now. So I'm looking forward to that moment we can all come out like that and really shine. It's because it's going to be so beautiful. We're going to look so good. We're going to look so good.
And when you're Wave, I'm going to bring out the Tunic. I'm going to bring out everything Filipino that I ever come
Oh my God, Tunic.
Girl, when you are Wave, I will walk
having a pot. We're going to have a big
dive
party.
in it every 10 feet.
Yeah.
We're going to have a big potluck at the beach.
At the beach.
I love it. Anything else we want to talk about before we get up out of here, y'all? Because I think I feel kind of like we're winding down, but this just to have this space and to see everybody's faces and just this inspiration and just this energy, this vibe is so fulfilling right now. And I can't thank y'all for joining me and Eric and just all of this love, man. This is so beautiful. So
let's
beautiful.
just close it with making our Shang-Chi predictions for Shang-Chi 2 and how he connects with the Avengers and all the different things. Maybe even tie in some storylines from the comics or from other MCU shows. And maybe how does he connect? How will he connect with the MCU going forward? Or how would you like him to connect with
I'm going to say this because I was one of those Mephisto cats that after predicting Mephisto, I'm just going to stop and enjoy now because I was so wrong with Mephisto. I was so wrong.
That's a fair way to ride the MCU wave, is just let it happen to you and enjoy what you get. Yeah. It's hard to say, Eric. I don't know, man. Shang-Chi 2. Oof. I can't even get over Shang-Chi 1 yet.
Yeah.
I'm still
I needed to see it
No.
several times, bro.
Same.
Tony,
Yeah.
your eyes.
Same.
I'm so lost.
Tony's eyes. Well, Tony's not going to be in Shang-Chi 2. That's for sure.
That's the one thing I am sad about. It made sense that he had to go
Yes.
for the story.
It was a beautiful
but
moment.
damn.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think if RDJ was still alive in the MCU, if Iron Man was still alive, they wouldn't have killed the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Because then there would have been something. But since he's already dead in the MCU, I feel like his arch enemy, he wouldn't have anybody else to fight other than his son. So I don't know. I mean, of course there'd be other people for him to fight, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think
How about you,
prediction wise,
Natasha? What do
I
you
would
think?
want to.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Natasha.
No, I just want to again thank you for letting me be in here. I'm just a nerd. I just wanted to be in the space and just talk about it and just seeing everyone here who are filmmakers, actors, and just our future wave. I would just love to see that because, as you said before, Rachel, like I feel you in terms of like whenever I was watching anything with an Asian girl, it was always like a light. Like you guys can't see it, but I'm pretty dark. So it was always like a light, petite Asian girl. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but like, I want my representation. Like I'm a tall brown girl. Like where's that at?
Yes.
So I would love to see that. I know when Agents of Atlas comes, I will definitely cosplay, be there at the premiere. But in terms of predictions, I would want to see Shang-Chi with Captain Marvel and just out there in space. Cause it just kind of hints that there's something out there. But as you could be, I would definitely just want to just ride the wave because I love how even though Shang-Chi and Katie were like, oh yeah, there's something wrong with these bracelets or there's like a honing beacon, they still just went and just did karaoke after. Like, yeah, that's cool and all,
right? That was so dope.
We're just gonna like drink
You
now.
gotta de-stress. You gotta decompress after a long day.
That was so dope.
That was so dope. I mean, and the fact that I host a karaoke show is so dope. I like it was the best. I mean, anyway,
you just got some marketing material out of that.
Oh yeah,
bro, I'm going to
green screen yourself in.
Yo, I'm sorry, I just nerded out real quick because you brought up Katie, Natasha, a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think is gonna happen with Katie? Because she's the non-powered one that's part of like has a future now. They even said both. They brought back. They didn't say just Shang-Chi. I just need you, bro. Come, Katie. Come rock with us. Yeah. So I'm really curious what they're gonna do. You know,
he was just like, "You funny. Come with me."
What are they gonna do?
I feel like Wong smokes weed, and he needed somebody to smoke weed with.
We need a Wong's World miniseries where it's just like Wong on his days off, him and Katie hanging out.
Oh my god, I love that.
See what other songs are on the song list in the book. You know what I'm saying?
No, but for real, like I was a little bugged out by that Katie was like, is Katie an Avenger now?
Like the potentiality there, you know?
Like, is she an Avenger? Because I mean, I'm cool with that if she is, but I was also like, did they just create a new Avenger out of whole cloth, but not even in the comic books, just a new character? Like, are they going to start doing that now? Which
she could be the official driver.
She could be the
bow and arrow.
I mean, because
that's the thing.
Because Ned Leeds is a character, in the comics, and he has a future where you could predict. Whereas Katie's a wild card. She's not. There's no. I mean, I'm sure there is a Katie in the comics, but I don't think it would somebody that was affiliated with Shang-Chi. So,
yeah, it's interesting to think about. Interesting thing to think about for sure.
And the fact that she has her own action figure, like it does hint at like what else is going to happen. So I just want to know, is she going to train more? Is she just going to be there on the sideline, but also be that support, like the getaway
now,
parts?
I feel like here's where now I'm going to start to make my predictions for Shang-Chi 2. Because I feel like the villain in Shang-Chi 2 is going to be his sister.
She can't revert back. I don't want her to do that.
No, I feel like
I felt that
she's gonna do some. I feel like she's gonna be bad because she's too good a villain as an opposition villain. She's still salty about him leaving her. Like, you know, like even when they were with the dragon, she's like, "Let me go." She's like, I know you want to let me go because you let me go all the time. Even when they were in the dragon up there, she was still mad at him. So I feel like she's going to be bad. And I feel like the 10 Rings is going to be a bad or an evil organization or a bad organization. And Shang-Chi is going to have to infiltrate it and be like, I thought you were going to debunk this or you were going to break it down and you didn't. And now I have to do it.
She did say in the movie, "America made you soft?" Question mark.
I hope
See,
not.
like
I
there
think
was
with
a lot
Dia,
of
like with Dia saying
confrontational moments
anti-heroes,
with
she'll be kind of
sister.
like that. She'll be on a slide to Punisher type, you know.
And then she's like Sister Hammer in the comics then. And as far as the Shang-Chi, I mean, I'm just saying, because you know they like to do that. They like to combine the characters.
Yeah, that's true.
What if she bands together with the other Black Widows?
Ooh,
the other widows.
Just get them to join.
And the Dora Milaje. I just want to see like just a big army of all these like strong, powerful women.
She just shows up. I'm the captain now. All of you. You're with me.
That's the one. That's the one. That's the one with the Dora Milaje. Yes.
Well, because I mean, you know, the 10 Rings is going to be in Iron, or what is it? The new
Ironheart or Iron Wars or whatever.
The
Armor Wars.
Iron Wars, or I can't remember what it is.
Armor Wars.
Armor Wars. Yeah, I know Samuel L. Jackson's going to be in that. So I mean, you never know who the villain's going to be in that. It might be them, which would be great.
That would be.
I mean, they're a perfect villain for that thing. You know, they're going to acquire more weapons, and why not try to acquire more Stark tech? So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's shocking, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is my Mephisto moment.
I still want a Mephisto though. For real, I want Mephisto come back, like, or in some shape.
I don't know if you're out of the woods with the Mephisto rumor yet.
Yeah,
that
bro.
Spider-Man trailer is a little fishy.
Yeah, that From Home, that No Way Home trailer looks Mephisto-y. We don't know if that's Doctor Strange or Doctor Strange Supreme.
All over the place.
Yo, for real, the Doctor Strange thing. Yeah, that's right. That might not be
because that what if put a question in my head about whether it was Doctor Strange or if it's Doctor Strange Supreme from the multiverse that is doing something, you know, to again, because everybody said that what if is canon, right? It's all part of the MCU. Yeah. So it could be that, I don't know, it's going to be so convoluted with all of that. I'm scared. I'm a little scared because there's a lot of villains.
We're reaching 30 movies in this franchise, in this series. They're going to start losing track, maybe. But in Feige, we trust, right?
Yes.
That's what we have to say.
Hell yeah. I was so worried about Shang-Chi.
I'm very excited for No Way Home.
Yeah, me too. We'll have to do another Ned Lee-centric conversation about No Way Home.
Predictions coming true. Skinny Ned is evil.
I want to throw another shout out real quick, man. Speaking of like Jacob Batalon, you know, Ned Lee's, he's got a Reginald the Vampire that's going to be coming out on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, he does.
You need to support him. He's leading. He's the star character in that. Let's support him, Reginald the Vampire. And then another announcement that's another Filipino-led show that's coming to Sci-Fi. I forgot. It's this
Vampires in Portland.
No. That's with Jason Tanamore. That's I think got optioned. But there's another show. I interviewed her. Well, I was promoting her, but Jana Morrison, she's the lead in another show that's coming to Sci-Fi. And she's Filipina Canadian. What is the name of the show? I'm just like, we got to support our peoples, right? It's not showing the name. It's not on our IMDb yet. But Jana Morrison, it's a show coming to Sci-Fi. Shout out to Sci-Fi just giving us opportunity. That's what I really want to say. Like, hell yeah. Here's the name. Astrid and Lily Save the World.
Fun.
She's playing the lead along with Marina Coyne. But yeah, and they said her character is Filipino. That they specifically put that in the press release. So that means we're gonna see her with the fam. We're gonna see some Filipino isms going on, right? I'm hyped. But yeah, so shout out to Jana Morrison and Jacob Batalon, with both have starring roles in 2 upcoming shows on Sci-Fi series. So we're shining, y'all. We are representing. We are coming out there. There's a lot of projects in the works right now. And stuff, I want to talk about, I can't talk about that. I know it's happening. I know y'all know, and because some people have auditioned for certain things in this room right now.
Well, we could talk about Easter Sunday though. I mean, they post about it.
Everybody knows about it. Easter Sunday.
Yeah, everybody knows about Easter Sundays.
Yeah.
That's the only one I auditioned for. I don't know what else you all auditioned for. That's the only one I got to audition for.
Things are popping. You didn't do that one? No, I'm ain't gonna bring that up. I'm not gonna get in trouble.
Don't get in trouble.
Dia,
Don't make me feel bad.
Yeah, you did the Irish out. Dia, thanks for coming in. When you watch this back, all the love, Dia. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, man, just a lot of stuff popping. We gotta support each other. That's what we really need to do at the end of the day. And I love that our community came out here and do this. And we're gonna support you, Rachel. We're gonna make this wave. I'm on that wave. We're gonna make that happen. And
thank you. Let's go.
You know, and if I gotta get a tattoo, Eric posted earlier today, he's gonna do the 10 rings tattoo. If I gotta do a 10 rings tattoo just to get a role, because I was in Winter Soldier. I was a shield agent, but I was background when they filmed Winter Soldier when they were here. I was also the double for Jasper Sitwell. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for the scene when he does the whole whisper thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, man. So I was in the MCU, but not a real person yet. But I would do a tattoo.
Well, you know what?
Real person.
Like Michelle Yeoh's been in the MCU twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Gemma Chan's about to be in it twice.
Yeah.
You can be in it twice.
Right.
That's all.
Gemma's was in there twice.
She was in Captain Marvel.
She played
was
killed in Captain Marvel.
And now she's going to be an Eternal. And then Michelle Yeoh's in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in a cameo appearance. And now
in a post-credit scene.
That's right.
Was she also in the Ravager funeral? Did they?
I think she had a quick scene in the Ravager funeral.
Oh
too.
shit!
But yeah, so they recycle, and that
right.
that speaks to another. And we don't have to get into this, but that speaks to another topic of Hollywood using the same people over and over again, right? Different conversation.
I mean, we can keep going because I want to talk about this. Like, I was scared at the beginning of this because, again, Katie is not a comic book character.
Right.
And I thought that Awkwafina was just going to be in it to pop off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought she was just going to be like comic relief and it wasn't going to be a substantial character. It was.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
I was happily surprised by her character and how how much chemistry she had with Simo. I loved it. That said, I was apprehensive at first because I'm like, why does Awkwafina have to be in every single all Asian movie? I mean, I'm just because
I think that's the question we're all asking.
Dragon and Raya, she was in Crazy Rich Asians. You know, I get it. You know, like is it like a thing you have to have Awkwafina in the movie for it to be successful?
She pulls well with kids, like marketing on a marketing standpoint. She pulls well with the young.
That's probably what it is.
It's really because of numbers and money.
Yeah,
but it's like it's also at the same time. It's like there's other Asians out there.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's true.
That will continue to be a conversation until we start seeing each other working. But what I will say, take a quick second to just be real, and I think like we've all dealt with a lot of stuff the last couple of years, and I think we're all coming out of it more empathetic than we were before hopefully as a society. And obviously there's a lot of bad eggs out there and red hats, but that being said, we're making progress. I'm really proud of my community. I feel accepted for the first time in a really long time, because it's hard to be in Hollywood, period. Then it's hard to be in Hollywood as an ethnically ambiguous Asian kid who doesn't feel like he has a home. And then you find Filipino Twitter and they're like a warm hug, and then that extends
we're
out.
Just like you.
No, I mean, this was such a good energy kind of conversation. So I thank you guys for inviting me. This was really fun, and I hope to do more. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Love to collab and do it all, man. We got to support each other. I love it. Yeah, Natasha, thank you for coming through as a nerd, just a nerd fan. With whatever you do.
Future writer, I heard.
Yeah, we heard that. We need you, girl. We need more writers. We heard it. That's what we need. Yeah.
No, for real. Like, especially a female Filipino writer who knows a lot about comic books and wants to write comic book stories. I mean, there you go. You better start talking to Rachel and have you start doing the pilot script.
Girl, start writing.
We'll shoot a proof
I'm trying.
of concept.
I'm trying. I'm seeing what's out there.
I got you. Hit me up.
This is awesome, y'all.
This is the support. This is the community in action, right?
Hell yeah. Hey, so I don't know if y'all first met. Why don't we sign off by just throwing out the IGs, Twitters for the people watching, and for us each other to support and follow each other if we aren't doing that already. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll sign up out of here. So, Eric, how can they reach out to you, brother?
You can follow me on Instagram at Miscellaneous Brown, the full word, one word, Miscellaneous Brown, or on Twitter at my whole name, Eric Esteban, one word, ERICKESTEBAN, Eric Esteban, one word, or Miscellaneous Brown on Instagram. Those are the two.
There you go, Eric. Lawrence.
You could find me on pretty much everything as Law J Sharma. I think on like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And then on Twitch, I'm Lucky Charms with a 5 at the end.
I love that. I'm gonna follow you on Twitch, brother. Natasha, I'm just going how the screen's set up.
Mine, I actually don't have good ones in terms of social media. Mine's like Sailor Moon reference. It's like the Moon Forces.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
And then on Instagram, I am Tashing.
Hell yeah.
So
awesome. And Rachel, because we're gonna climb on this wave and we're gonna support you all the way through to make that happen.
Nice pun. Nice. Love that. Yeah, I'm on Instagram as Rachel.Lako, Leyco, and then Twitter is Rachel Lako, just Rachel Lako. But yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. And like, I loved this conversation, loved being in this space with y'all. Can't wait to follow y'all and support each other in our projects. And it's just, we're going up from here. I'm really excited.
Hell yeah.
It's just the beginning.
Yes. Just the beginning. I love it.
That's part of why I reached out to you in the
Are we
first
doing
place.
that?
Was because I really wanted to mark this event, because this was an event. This was like a historical event for us as nerds, as comic book nerds, as nerds of color, and as for Filipino Americans, just to mark this moment, because I love that Rachel's in here and she's going to be the next wave. And I love that we're all in here, just kind of like, just in here with this wonderful energy. And it was what I was hoping for when I reached out to Kuya P to do this in the first place, was to get this energy of just to capture this moment and feel what everybody's feeling. And it makes me, it enhances the experience personally for me to know that there's people out there that are just like me, that are feeling the same things that I'm feeling about this movie. And I do feel like this is a watermark moment in history for Asian Americans and for us as artists, because again, they've lost the excuse that we're not financially viable anymore, because with Crazy Rich, it's like now we've got a track record now. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Crazy Rich Asians made hundreds of millions. Now Shang-Chi's on its way to making hundreds of millions. You know, put us in more movies and we'll make you money. And we'll make money, and that's what I want to talk about. Let's make some money.
I want to buy my parents a house one day. Come on,
saying,
cast me in something.
Well,
I want to buy myself a house one day. Shit, I'm tired of renting.
Sorry, I'm still on the parental guilt thing. I'm really fucked up from that movie.
You stop being on the parental guilt when you become a parent.
Yo, well, Eric, man, I just want to tell you, man, I'm honored that you hit me up, man, and that we could do this. All the love, brother. And yeah, this is a renaissance moment. When you hit me up, man, I started pinging everybody. Like I said, shout out to Edwin San Juan, who wanted to be here as well. I had hit him up. He's a super Marvel head. Ron Han, aka Ron Solo, aka POC Culture, who did the amazing Shang-Chi challenge. He wanted to be here but couldn't make it. Patricio Janelsa with Lumpia with a Vengeance. He wanted to be here. We just kind of threw this together in like a couple days, and I did this in between all the other shit I'm doing. So we gotta definitely do this again.
Shout out to Kuya
with enough lead time.
Yeah, appreciate the hustle, brother.
Interviewing all the stars.
Anytime, brother. I love my people. I love y'all. I love our community. I've said that since day one of my Show Pal show. The first line I said was, "I love my people, man," and this is beautiful because I think, man, I just think of the world of us, and I want the best for the future going forward for my child, and I know, and the rest of us that may or may not have children or looking to have children. We need to change the world for a better future, and so I'm always down to do this, man. I'm honored, and I love all your faces. I can't wait to do this again. So let's get up out of here. Your boy Kuya P, Show Pal Show, Nerds of Color, NRW, Nerds Rule the World, Show Pal Show Special, Eric Esteban, Natasha, Lawrence, Rachel. This is it. MCU going forward. Let's connect again on another time. Let's do this more often. We're going to connect. We're going to keep vibing. We're going to keep bringing this energy. Love y'all. All right.
On a dark desert highway.
No